Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Six of Vessels in Reunion. And if you would like a tarot reading, hit that link down below in the description box, and we'll get set up a date and we'll get that started for you. So the Six of Vessels in Reunion. When I was thinking about this card, the thing that popped out to me was the two otters off to the side there. Right? And the other thing that really stands out to me is the trees on that hill, okay? And, with the two pages, the two otters, they remind me of the page of vessels, okay? And they're always talking about, where do you need to let your feelings show, having fun, right? As well as, what deeper trust is being asked of you as you're moving forward. So, those are the two questions that this page of vessels is asking, but they're drinking out of this pool, all right? And the Six of Vessels are filled, okay? And out of this hill where the trees are at, water's pouring out. So I'm seeing the Journey card come up, which is that raven, picking at the elk's sinews of meat that's being left. And what it's reminding me of is, even when there's death, and I'm assuming that these trees are dying, maybe they got some sort of bug in it or something like that, but there's so much life underneath, okay? And it's not, the roots aren't going down far enough to get those nutrients to come back up, all right? And with that being said, yesterday's card was all about mourning. And those cups aren't full, okay? So you've got the six of vessels first, and then the Seven of Vessels, okay? And then the Eight of Vessels is rebirth. So there has to be some death in your process of something, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a career, whether it's a process that you're going through for your spiritual stuff, right? Or maybe it's just your normal your daily habits. That this doesn't get me anywhere. I'm going to stop doing it in a habit type thing. And maybe you take up a different habit, to help you out. Okay, the weather's nice. Instead of sitting around all day doing nothing, get out on your bike. Make that a new habit for you, right? And there you go. There's the reunion, a reunion between you and your bike, okay? Or you and your exercise program, however you want to look at it. But we also talked about the mourning of those that have passed on, okay? And, when you mourn those that have passed on and you celebrate that life that they did have by keeping them in your hearts and in your thoughts, right? And, allowing that to have some peace over you, when you reunite with that, all right, it just helps you grow spiritually. It helps you understand the other side of this plane. Okay, and where those souls are at. So you could be reuniting with long lost loves, those spirits that are on the other side that you talk to help you get through the day, but also the reincarnated love between soulmates, right? That you're aware of that maybe just isn't part of your daily plan right now. All right, they're out there. All right, you're talking to them, they're talking to you, all right, but you just haven't gotten back together, right? And that just could be this could be an opportunity to reconnect. Okay, pick up the phone, send an email, say, hey, I'd like to reunite and just have coffee, right? And it doesn't have to be a sexual relationship thing. It could be just a regular relationship, friends getting together, right? That haven't talked to each other in 5-10 years, right? 5 years, whatever, right? And when you do that, when you reconnect either with other souls, all right, souls that have moved on, or souls that are in your life, you learn new lessons, okay? You learn new wisdom, you learn new knowledge, all right, that can help you out on your spiritual path. And, when you have those loyal friends and comrades and you're coming together from past, experience, it's interesting to see how everybody progresses in their life. right? And just, being able to, to reconnect with, old friends that you worked with, right? Old colleagues. And just, hey, how's life treating you? Oh, well, you got a family now. Oh, that's cool. How old are they? Or, hey, how's your son and daughter doing? Wow, they're in their 30s already? Wow, that's awesome. So, you talk about those past experiences, with them, and it shows the love and the connection that you do have with others. And reuniting, and just even if it's, in a parking lot at a grocery store, that 5 minutes, is like, man, I remember working with that dude, or, I remember going to college with them, right? So, that reunion is with your own true nature as well. Reuniting with, outside, walking through the grass with no shoes on, right? Becoming more embodied to the earth. Drinking, I would say I'd drink out of that pool. I grab one of those cups and, I drink out of it. And, that would reunite me with, the message that the Page of Vessels is having is, where do you need to let your feelings show? Well, you know what? Maybe after that day of mourning and staying even keel, maybe I need to let some emotions go, right? Maybe I need to be grateful and thankful, for what's transpired in my life, right? And when we meditate on those past issues, we gain new insight and wisdom. I look back at the last 4 years, and there are no regrets, none whatsoever with what's going on in my life. And yet, I continue to press forward. I continue to ask for guidance. I continue to ask for wisdom. I continue to ask for knowledge, as you shall. You should do that too. Okay, and that process helps clear out the old and gives us a sense of self-empowerment. All right, reuniting with those, and saying, you know what, we talked about this idea. Well, how about we move it forward? Or, hey, how did you ever, do with, that exercise, gym that you were talking about? Maybe it sparks, fire within them. So, we are reassured of the spiritual path that we are on when we reunite with people, and we share that knowledge, we share that wisdom, we share that information, to others. Okay, the King of Bows is down here still, and he's asking you pretty much, where do you need to take charge? Take charge in opening those connections. The Nine of Stones tradition is down there. The Pole Star, letting you know that you're guided. The Knight of Vessels, where are your emotions running high? You're keeping that even keel, but maybe you need to let loose a little bit. Let those emotions flow, right? Be cleansed when that happens, and put some of that water back into the pool, right? And the Page of Stones, being down here as well, he's, what can you learn from this situation? What can you learn from this situation by reuniting with those that have brought you up, that have passed on, moved to that other plane? You learn as you continue to grow older that, I'm an independent person. I can continue doing things without having to rely on, mom and dad. Right? And if you're younger and your mom and dad are still around, your grandfather and your grandmother, spend as much time as you can with them. Okay? Spend as much time as you can with the neighbors that are, in their 80s and still thriving, right? And just, talk with them and enjoy, okay, what they have to share on their experiences, on their knowledge, on their wisdom. And, don't be afraid of, connecting with them. Because, when they move it to the other side, and they move on, there's going to be some mourning, but that mourning could be a joyful celebration and saying, you know what? They shared a piece of their life with you. Okay? And you should be grateful for that because of the lessons that you learned. There's tons of lessons that you can learn from other people. And that can benefit you on your spiritual path. So that's today's card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Six of Vessels in Reunion. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, give me a thumbs up. And check out that link down below if you'd like a personal reading. And this is D for the Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. God bless and stay safe, everybody.